In this video we have everything you need to know about OP12 Zoro, covering the playstyle of the deck, how fun the deck is, the key cards being the utility and reason for being in the deck, how much this deck will cost, the meta viability of the deck and the tier, the difficulty of the deck to play, every single matchup, giving advice on whether to go first and second, and advice on how to approach the matchup. Starting off with the playstyle, Zoro, green leader, 5 life, 5k power, with a slash attribute, with the types of supernova and straw hat crew. Don times 3. Activate main once per turn. If this leader has battled a character already during this turn, set this leader as active. Then for the rest of the turn, this leader cannot attack characters with an original cost of 7 or less. This deck is quite a unique green deck, focusing on the attribute which hasn't been seen in many decks before at all, being the slash attribute. The playstyle of the deck essentially is playing cards to rest your opponent's bodies and giving 3 rested Don to your leader, 1 for each sword he has, and swinging into the bodies to remove them. Then he is able to restand to then swing at the opponent's leader. This is an incredibly strong effect, especially early game, as you simply just clear your opponent's board and still hit face, being both the control and aggro playstyle. This deck's playstyle is extremely simple and effective, proving to be one of the strongest leaders in OP12. For how fun this deck is, well, it wins a lot, so you can expect this to be very fun if you just want to win at all costs. However, the playstyle is rather straightforward into many matchups, so if you prefer to have many lines of play for your decks, you may want to get a tad more creative with your deck list in this deck. So now moving on to the key cards. First off, we have a 1 cost tap searcher, Sakazuki Hiyori. 1 cost, 0 power, 1k counter. Activate main, you may rest 1 Don card and this character. If your leader is Zoro, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a slash attribute card or a green event card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So essentially just a slash tap searcher for Zoro, a great consistency piece to find your cards, and yes, just a very good card. And next we have the other searcher in this Zoro deck. Zoro has 8 searchers in this deck, helping him find pretty much everything and be very consistent. 1 cost, 2k power with 1k counter, Perona. On play, if your leader's got the slash attribute, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 slash attribute card or 1 event, and put it in your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This one is generic, so it doesn't require your leader to be Zoro, just a generic slash searcher that will be used in so many green decks in this set. Having 8 searchers in one set means Zoro will be a very consistent leader and will be finding almost everything he needs. So yeah, 8 searches already, really good so far. Next we have Koshiro, a 2 cost 1k power slash with 1k counter. If one of your cost 5 or lower slash attribute characters other than this character will be KO'd by an opponent's effect, you may rest this character instead. It also has blocker. This is just great. Early game KO protection, whilst also being a blocker, is essential, as Lucci really does counter Zoro. Same with Teach, just getting that early game protection and also being a blocker, so against aggro matchups like Rayleigh or Red Zoro, Koshiro can provide that much needed protection and also is great late game too. Next we have Shimotsuki Kuzaburo, 3 cost 2k power, slash with 2k counter. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. Then KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with an original cost of 1 or less. Essentially this is just a searchable 2k, but can have the effect of getting rid of trump blockers, which in Zoro can be quite useful. But yeah, really it is just a 2k that is searchable to be honest, which is what it will be used 90% of the time. Next we have 3 cost Tashigi, 3 cost 4k power with the special attribute and 2k counter. If you have any green character other than Tashigi that will be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may rest this character instead. Essentially this is just protection from KO and Red Rock and Gravblade or an Iron Mom, just a generic green one. However, can't protect your 5 cost Tashigis, which may be an issue, but that's what Koshiro is for. But yes, just a really good character, removal protection with 2k counter, so even if you don't need it for removal protection, the 2k counter is so nice as well. It isn't searchable as it has a special attribute, but yes, just an overall brilliant card to have in this deck. So next we have Kuina, a 4 cost 1k power slash with 1k counter. Activate main, you may rest this character, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with an original cost of 4 or less, then attach up to 3 rested Don cards to one of your Zoro leaders. On 4 Don, playing this out, resting a 3 cost, then swinging 8 into it and then 8 into leader as an activate main is brilliant. This is a brilliant card against Blackbeard as well, being able to rest Burgess and then swing 8k into it immediately. This along with Tashigi are 2 of the most important cogs in this deck. However, this does die rather quick with the 1k power, but it does eat up an attack anyway, so essentially is a 1k counter as well. This card is a vital cog and a brilliant way to use your leader effect early. So now we have the 4 cost Zoro, 4 cost 5k power slash with 1k counter. While this card is in your hand, it can't be played by an effect. If your leader has a slash attribute, this character cannot be KO'd in battle by slash attribute cards and gains plus 1k power. So essentially a vanilla, but in this meta is incredibly important, especially in the mirror, as this card cannot be killed by any slash characters. So in the mirror and in any other slash attribute matchups, this card is vital, and the mirrors will probably go whoever gets many of these out wins. And a lot of decks are playing the slash package, such as red green smoker and green yellow law, so in this matter this could be a vital card to winning those matchups. Next we have Cavendish. 5 cost 6k power, slash with 1k counter. On play and when attacking, if your leader has a supernova's type, which Zoro does, and you have no other Cavendish characters on the field, set up to 2 of your Don as active. This is a brilliant card, being able to get more power on your leader with the extra Don, and also make your plays more efficient. For example, on 8 Don, you can play Mihawk, untap 4, then swing with Cavendish to untap 2, giving you 6 remaining Don to either play a Tashigi or just do a bigger swing. Cavendish is brilliant for that, hence why it is such an expensive card for green, as it is used in both green yellow law and Bonnie. And also late game, if you want to use the untap leader event, you can do that for 3, then swing with Cavendish to make it only cost 1, to be able to get bigger swings consecutively with your leader, which late game can be an insane value. Next we have Tashigi, a 5 cost 7k power, slash character with no counter. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's character with the original cost of 6 or less, then do up to 3 rested Don cards to your Zoro leader. This is the main card in this deck which keeps it ticking, because going first on your ideal curve on 5 you can play this, rest any character, then just swing 8k into it, immediately clearing it and developing a 7k body. This card is insane, and if you can just keep spamming them out and clearing bodies, can absolutely demolish your opponent. I would say this card and Mihawk, as well as the untap event, are your 3 main cards, giving you the win con. Now we have Neko Mamushi. 6 cost 7k power, slash with 2k counter, a 2k vanilla that we have seen come recently, and essentially just a searchable 2k and an emergency body if you need one. Now we have Draco Mihawk. 8 cost 8k power, slash with blocker. On play, set up to 4 rested Don cards as active, then you may not play a character with an original cost of 7 or more during this turn. Yeah, this card is nuts. It allows you to develop a blocker that's big, and as we've seen with 8 cost Katakuri, an 8k blocker is unreal, and also give 4 rested Don so it can still swing into a body and then into leader with 9k. Developing a body and still clearing with our leader effect is such a big deal, and this is the reason this is going to be one of the most expensive SRs in the entire set. Now we have Demonic Aura 9 sword style Asura Deadman's Game, a 1 cost event, with a main of resting 3 Don cards and resting a total of 2 of your opponent's characters or Don. This is just a Hody effect on an event and is frankly insane. Then you can use it for 4 Don, swing with Cavendish, so it essentially costs 2, and you have 8 Don to play with. This in GP as well is going to be an insanely annoying card to deal with, and in Zoro can make lethal so much easier. And it also has a counter of giving your leader plus 3k power, so it never will be a brick in hand. And this actual functionality is so strong, and yeah, just another insane Zoro card in this set. And last and certainly not least, we have Luffy as the man who will become the Pirate King, with the main of setting up to one of your leaders as active for 3 Don, and the trigger of your leader or character card getting plus 1k power during this turn. Yeah, this is just I'm invincible from the Uta starter deck, but in Zoro. And on 10 Don, literally just stack 7 on, swing, they block, untap, swing again, then untap 3 for the event, and then swing again. Yep, event's ridiculous, and is a reason why this deck is so annoying to deal with. And before we move on to the price of the deck, I will say there are some cards that I may consider in here, such as Paradise Waterfall and Hody Jones. Hody Jones obviously for the effect, and the rush that probably could get banned at some point, and Paradise Waterfall so you can swing with your 8 cost Mihawks and then restand to block with it. Going on to price, the alt leader will be the most expensive in the set I imagine, probably starting off about 50 to 60 pounds and going down to about 35 after a month I imagine. And just to note, if I say a card is cheap, I mean it will be less than 10p, so I'm using 10p as a baseline. Hiyori is a rare, so it will be very cheap. Perona is an SR searcher that will be used in a wide variety of green decks, as they utilise the slash package, and at the time of recording the cheapest UK is around £4, but this will be going down to about £2 each in a couple of weeks. Koshiro will be cheap too, as it is an uncommon card, same with Shimotsuki Kuozaburo. Tashigi is an OP10 SR that is used in pretty much every green deck, and is around £4 in the UK at the moment. Queen will be also cheap, as it is an uncommon. The exact same with the Zoro, as it is a common, so it'll be very cheap. Now Cavendish, quite expensive. It's around £20 UK at the time of recording, but will become far, far, far cheaper upon the release of the Learner's Deck and PRBO2. Tashigi will also be very cheap, as it is a rare. Neko Mamushi will also be very cheap. Mihawk at the time of recording is around £5 UK, but will go down to the same price Purple Katakuri is at the minute I imagine, as they are very similar in usability. So I imagine around £4 each, and will go down steadily to about £2. As for the rest, both green events will be very cheap too. This deck, if you want to get all of the SRs for it, will be around 130 at the time of recording, and 180 if you want the alt leader too. A rather pricey deck, but mainly because of Cavendish to be honest. As it is extremely likely that UP Luffy will be banned, this deck will likely be best deck in format. This deck was already the second best in the format with UP in rotation, but if UP Luffy suffers a big nerf like is expected, this deck will most likely be the best in the format, followed up by Silver's Rayleigh in my opinion. For difficulty to play, not so difficult actually. The straightforward lines of play and simple card mechanics make a great deck for both beginners and veterans, due to its ease to play and ease to get great results. The deck will require knowledge about the more fringe and harder matchups though, to make sure you won't be caught lacking, but overall this deck is not that difficult at all compared to most other decks. For beginners, this is probably one of the best ones to get. Now for the matchups, we will start from the most favoured going down to the least. Here we cover Buggy, Blue-Purple Sanji, Green-Yellow Law, Koala, Blue-Yellow Nami, Black-Purple Luffy, Teach, Shanks, Yamato, GP Luffy, Red-Green Smoker, Kuzan, Blue-Purple Luffy, Bonnie, Rayleigh, Kid, Enel, and OP12 Zoro, as well as the Mirror. First off is Buggy. Going first we have a win rate of 81%. And going second we have a win rate of 72%. Buggy's game plan of getting an untouchable board and going wide to play the 10 cost will be heavily disrupted by us, as we can rest their guys and swing big into them early, disrupting their board, and also swinging into their life. Buggy absolutely hates this matchup, so go first, rest their guys with Tashigi to prevent them from building up a board, and Tashigi can rest the 6 cost Mihawk, the blocker 2 case he plays, Alvida, and Kuina can also rest the blockers too, as it is an original cost. Just spam Tashigis and Kuinas, rinse and repeat, and there you go. Next up we have Blue-Purple Sanji. We have a win rate going first of 79%, and going second of 71%. Sanji's game plan of getting Reiju and Sanji out on the board and not swinging with them to buff them through getting events in the trash quickly is heavily disrupted here, as again you can just rest them so early. So the Sanji will have to use so many resources to defend them, to a point where it's not even worth it. So you can build your board and remove theirs from the early game, hence why this has such a high win rate for Zoro. Next is Green-Yellow Law, with the going first win rate of 72% and second 61%. Law's game plan is to get bodies out early and build his board to achieve 5 cost, so he can play characters such as Cavendish and Law off his life. However, we can disrupt that heavily while still developing our board. Swinging 8k into the 6k bodies means Law has to commit at least 2 cards to defend the bodies, and then also get another swing at life. And being a leader who takes his own life already to play out bodies, this level of double aggro is just so hard to deal with. So pretty much just keep spamming 5 cost Tashigi and 8 cost Mihawk and put that pressure on that Green-Yellow Law. Next is Black-Yellow Koala. The win rate of going first is 64% and second 68%. Koala's curve is second, so if you steal that and go against your curve being first, this is by far the best way to play into Koala. Koala has a far worse going first curve than second, so stealing that and still being able to rest and KO Koala's bodies is huge. Playing 8 cost Mihawk will add life to your hand, but you don't need to play that to win, as Koala is 4 life, swinging 8k into one body a turn and then leader will really be a struggle for Koala. So overall just play your way, go second, ball out, and be aware of 6 cost Robin, so try to stay 4 cards in hand and under, so you don't have to trash 2. Now on to Blue-Yellow Nami. Going first, a win rate of 63%, and second, 61%. Blue-Yellow Nami's curve is ideally second and ours is first, so it really doesn't matter where we go here. Nami is a very defensive deck who aims to control the board through cards such as Nojiko and Zeus, and draws a lot of cards. You must be very careful of being puddinged here as well. Here, play the standard way. Play Kuina and Tashigi to clear the board and go aggro. Like I said before, a lot of Zoro's matchup game plans are similar, as just playing 5 cost Tashigi and 8 cost Mihawk kinda solves most of your problems. But here, Nami is an incredibly defensive deck, so focus on clearing the board, and then late game you can just stack 7 on leader and swing 3 times a turn using the event. Nami's leader effect doesn't help too much against a play that simple and effective. Next is Black-Purple Luffy, with a going first win rate of 63% and going second of 54. Here, both decks' ideal curves are going first, so it really helps if you're first here. Luckily, Kuina and Tashigi rest based on original cost, so the +1 cost doesn't help Luffy at all in this matchup. Luffy's early game bodies aren't too high in power, so resting them and swinging into them pretty much should always kill. Early game, getting a Koshiro out to prevent your 5 cost Tashigi being killed by a 5 cost Sanji really does help. When the Luffy gets to a 7k lead, just keep playing Tashigi and add all extras on to lead so you can keep removing those Luffys and keep swinging to lead, which is really hard to deal with for the Luffy. and 4 life leaders really struggle into Zoro so much. Next we have Teach. Going first we have a win rate of 64% and second 51. Here is such a strange matchup where you can win convincingly by not even playing any bodies at all. You can actually just keep aggroing and swinging lead. You can use Deadman's Game to rest the blockers, and also the 3 cost event to restand leader to keep on aggroing. Teach is more removal based nowadays, so if you don't play anything to remove and just go face, it's quite hard to deal with. Teach has teched using the 2 cost event Black Spiral, which negates your leader effect and gives it minus 4000 power for the turn. So even if you use a 3 cost event, you still have minus 4k power. Lightbait players are usually running this at 2, but depending on how prominent Zoro will be in this meta, which I imagine will be much more, considering UP Luffy will probably get banned, it is likely that this event will be run more, and other black decks like Koala and Black Purple Luffy may start running it too. So be very careful of this event, as that can really shake up this matchup on its head. Next we have Shanks. Going first we have a win rate of 53%, and going second 57. Shanks' going second curve is so oppressive due to reaching the 10 cost threshold, 10 cost Shanks quicker, as well as getting Lucky Root and Rayleigh on curve, so going second here is so much better for us. We can still rest everything and kill it with Zoro going first, so if you go first it's not that bad at all. You can still play 5 cost Tashigi and rest Rue, and then swing into it with lead. Shanks' leader effect lasts a turn, so it's likely you'll be swinging 7k twice instead of 8k. 3 cost Tashigi and Koshiro are your saviors here, as Shanks aims to remove your bodies, so having these out to prevent bigger ones being removed is key. And then on, you can keep aggroing down, as Shanks will struggle with constant big swings. And just to note, in OP12 Shanks has a new card, the 4 cost Shanks blocker, 4 cost 6k power, and when we attack with our leader, they can trash a card from their hand and give our leader minus 2000 during the turn. So with that and Shanks' leader effect, this 4 cost Shanks really does counter our leader effect, so it is vital to get rid of this as soon as possible and be very aware of its effects, and do not fall victim to this card because it is incredibly strong against our leader. Next is Green Yellow Yamato, with the going first win rate of 54% and going second 53. Yamato is a very aggressive deck too, and doesn't play too many bodies early game, other than Searchers or Ashura Doji, so really just block her up early with Koshiro, play your 5 cost Tashigis to kill their bodies, and then get a cost Mihawk out and ball. Pretty much just play as you normally would, just be a tad more defensive. Next is Green Purple Luffy, the going first win rate of 52% and going second of 47. Here we usually take our first curve, as it is so much easier to clear a 4 cost Zorojuro with an 8k swing than a Sanjian Pudding. Green Purple is a very bricky deck too, so it's likely that you can clear them. In short, play your Tashigis and get your 8 cost Mihawks out to block it up and keep swinging. As GP has 4 life and is bricky, just keeping up that constant pressure and having the ability to rest Don with Deadman's Game is so strong. Resting 4 to rest 2 Don and then swing 5 with Cavendish to restand 2, then swinging 10k 3 times in 1 turn using the event is so strong late game. GP doesn't really interact with your board too much, so deleting their board and blocking up over time will make this increasingly difficult to win for the Green Purple Luffy. Next is Red Green Smoker, with the going first win rate of 53% and second of 46. Red Green Smoker is usually an 8 cost kid deck, but in OP12 they're kind of transitioning into a slash build focusing on the 8 cost Mihawk. Red Green Smoker is also quite fragile too, being a 4 life leader, so going on our curve and using Tashigi to rest blockers and clear them early on is so hard to deal with, and such a powerful strategy. Getting them to 0 life and swinging 12k then restanding using the event essentially swings 12k life 3 times in 1 turn if the Smoker blocks, as the block allows us to restand using leader effect too, and this is so hard to deal with in consecutive turns for the Smoker, so going about this matchup in this way is the best way to play it. Next is Kuzan, with a going first win rate of 49% and going second of 48. Now we're getting into the unfavoured matchups. Kuzan is not too unfavoured according to the stats, but when playing a seasoned Kuzan player this will be much lower. Kuzan has the access to play Pheasant Peck early, which can counteract the swings into their bodies from earlier turns, and Kuzan overall is such a bulky deck. Here going second is ideal just to steal Kuzan's curve, as their first curve is far weaker in my opinion, and it delays the 8 cost Garb coming out by a turn, which is essential for us as the 8 cost Garb helps them go wide and tall quickly, which is really hard to deal with for us. Playing 3 cost Tashigi too is needed as they have Gravity Blade and Red Rock. Here we just play our normal way and try to apply as much pressure as possible. Here Hody Jones may be a worthy inclusion to rest the Don for Pheasant Peck and keep aggroing down, and to be honest here resting Don is incredibly strong. Kuzan's hand is usually huge too, which means they'll be just so bulky, so even resting Don may not be enough, but it does help. Just play your normal way and be aware of the removal and the Pheasant Peck. Next up is Blue Purple Luffy, with the going first win rate of 49% and second 44. This is an untouched by banlist Luffy, and this will definitely be affected by the banlist, so the win rate will go up for Zoro, especially if 9 Mom is banned. As if Blue Purple Luffy can't heal, our aggro and 3 cost event will make the Blue Purple cry, as well as Deadman's Game. Just aggro down and swing big from early. Going first, play Tashigi and 3-cost Tashigi to prevent removal, and then cleared their Bonclays and Nami blockers, and threaten them with Dead Man's Game and the 3-cost event, and blue-purple Luffy will really struggle here. Next we have Bonnie, with the going first win rate of 45% and going second of 43. Here is a rather tricky matchup as Bonnie plays 8-cost Kid and plays a lot of blockers for it, and is extremely defensive, and we have no way of reducing Kid's power. Early game we play as usual, removing their smaller bodies, and mid-game removing their Cavendish and Carrots. When 8-cost Kid comes down is where the problems begin really, as on 10 Dom we can swing 12k into it 3 times with our leader, not being affected by Bonnie's leader effect as our leader effect doesn't activate main, which is great, but if Bonnie can counter out of one of those swings and block 2, each turn Kid stays on board, it gets ever more difficult for us to win, as Bonnie is a 5-life leader and is extremely defensive, so dealing as much damage as you can early is the aim, resting the blockers with Dead Man's Game to make clearing Kid easier, and just keeping up the pressure is the ideal way to play this matchup. Now going on to Rayleigh, with the first win rate of 42% and the second of 40%. This is very unfavoured, as Rayleigh plays so many bodies out low cost, so removing one a turn with their leader ability is not enough, and to rub it in, the 1-cost buggy so she can't be killed by slash characters. So if the Rayleigh gets loads of these buggies out, it's going to become far tougher. The way to play this is to be very defensive and try to stay out until 8-cost Mihawk is on board, and keep getting those out, use Koshiro to stop the bigger swings, and just try our best to survive until late game. But yeah, this is such a hard matchup, and you could include Electrical Luna to help slow this matchup down as it is searchable with the 1-cost Perona. Next is Pissed Kid. Going first we have a win rate of 35% and going second 39%. For Zoro, our 2 hottest matchups are the more stally yellow decks. Kid gets a lot of blockers out, Sunbeam Basil Hawkins, which we then kill with our leader effect, trashes the life, so a good Kid will just spam these out as well as the 1-cost Apu blocker to prevent bodies that he doesn't want to die dying, and also playing 6-cost Kuma, so when you swing big into Kuma, Kid heals. And later on playing 8-cost Kid to trash your life, yeah, Kid has a lot of tools to make this very difficult for us, so just many blockers is tough to deal with for us. Going second here to steal Kid's curve is very needed, as we can get our 8-cost Mihawk out. Just being defensive late game and spamming these Mihawks out, restanding for Don, allows us to maintain pressure, so just get as many Mihawks out as possible, and Koshiro too, and just hope we can outlast the Kid, and get lethal using the 3-cost event to swing 12k 3 times. Next we have Enel. Going first we have a win rate of 30% and second 39%. Going second here to steal Enel's curve is much needed. It's just Enel's ability to resist aggro as he heals and spams out Shirahoshi and Brule blockers is so hard to deal with, as it prevents us killing his bodies mid and late game. So for the Enel, it's so much easier to defend those bodies late game. Just play our normal way, try to remove everything and outlast the Enel. But this is so hard to do, and in short, we just have to hope the Enel doesn't see great things and we clear all their stuff. Next we have Red Zoro, going first 37% and going second 34%. This is probably the hardest matchup we have, if not Enel. Zoro gets so many bodies out, with the animal package, with a 1-cost event and 3-cost choppers. So early on, if they leave a Don up, do not swing at all costs. Try to remove all bodies and block her up. Try to stabilize getting your Mihawks and Koshiro out to stay longer, and the longer you can stay alive and get Mihawks out, the better chance you have of winning. This is similar to Rayleigh in a way. Red Zoro have actually started to include the 1-cost buggy again for this matchup, so if you play Zoro with the 1-cost buggy, yeah, this becomes so much more difficult than it already is. Next we have the Mirror. Going first is 49.9 and going second is 50.1. Here the stats are so similar in the Mirror, literally almost 50-50, so it doesn't really matter at all in turn order. The most important card here is the 4-cost Zoro actually, as it can't be killed by slash attribute cards. So maybe going second is slightly better here. The Zoro won't die in the Mirror, so genuinely whoever sees this card the most and can shit them out more wins. But yeah, play a normal way and get the 4-cost Zoro out. But yes, this is my OP12 Zoro guide, so if you'd like to see any gameplay of this or any other videos, please let me know. The next deck guide I can make will probably be Kuzan, so subscribe and I'll see you then.